Hi all, welcome and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I have a tragic and creepy story to share with you coming out of Ohio. Police in North Canton say that 29-year-old Morgan Fox was found in her driveway by her boyfriend in the early morning hours of October 28th of 2020, shot to death. They said it appears as though she was shot as she was entering her car and her boyfriend found her when he arrived home from work. On November 1st, a coworker of Morgan's posted a heartfelt Facebook post saying that it was strange not having her around. It read, "I wish I had time to list all the ways you have impacted my life, but the list would be so long we'd never make it to the end. You were the friend where if I was having a bad day, I knew I could always come talk to you. It's so strange not having you around to talk to, and this has left a giant hole in my heart. But I know you will always be watching over us, your family, your friends, and your daughter. You have left a lasting impact on all of our lives, and you will never be forgotten." Sweet, huh? Except he addressed her in his post as Foxy and added the hashtag Justice for Morgan Ashley for all to see it. Could have just been an affectionate pet name he had for her? I suppose. And normally I wouldn't make too much of it, except that 3 days after his heartfelt Facebook post, he was arrested for her murder. News reports say Morgan's coworker, Jason McDermott, is suspected of shooting her in the head 2 times, leaving her for dead and fleeing the scene. Police have not released any information about how McDermott became a suspect in any of the news reports that I've read, but I would imagine someone gave them some information that led them to him. At this time, they say they have no information about any sort of relationship between Morgan and her alleged killer outside of them being coworkers, and they do not yet have a motive for the shooting. Now, I don't know nothing about nothing, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and suggest that maybe he had an unhealthy obsession with her. I could be wrong, but I just have a gut feeling that he loved her and he couldn't have her because she was already in a relationship. And I may be reading too much into it, but I think that's why he called her Foxy. He either called her that at work or he always wanted to, but never could. Now, I don't know if she lived in an area where houses were quite a distance from each other or not, but how did no one hear two gunshots in the wee hours in the morning? I would think it would be quiet enough outside to hear 2 gunshots, and yet police say she wasn't found until her boyfriend came home from work. I'm no detective or anything, but I kind of think he gave himself away a bit by choosing to shoot her as she left for work in the morning. To me, that suggests that it was someone who knew her work schedule and knew when to get her leaving her house. Also, news reports say that she had a daughter, which makes her murder all the more heartless and cruel. So, if it was McDermott who killed her, guaranteed he knew that. And if he knew she was a mother and still killed her, he was either pure evil or he was making her pay for something, like not loving him. Maybe it was a case of, if I can't have you, then nobody can. Now, somebody on the hashtag Justice for Morgan Ashley page said her daughter is 8 years old. If so, then someone was either at the house with her daughter so she could go to work, since her boyfriend was already at work, or her daughter was taken to a babysitter for the night, so nobody was at the house at the time of the shooting. I say this because, again, nobody seems to have heard the shooting. That's why she was discovered when her boyfriend got home. I think this is important because if McDermott knew her daughter would be away at a babysitter's, then he knew no one would be in the house to hear the shooting and possibly identify him as the shooter. So, I would assume he knew all these things about her schedule, when she left for work, if there was someone in the home with her daughter, and when her boyfriend worked. I wonder if they were friends and she shared all that information with him, or if he studied her and listened to her conversations with others. Police also haven't ruled out a possible romantic relationship between them either. Or, God forbid, it was something as stupid as she got a promotion that he wanted or something like that. But something set that man off to the point where he obviously planned her murder and lied in wait for her to leave her house so he could execute it. After his arrest and Morgan's family found out who he was, they realized he had left the Facebook post saying how much she meant to him. He also stated that they were friends in the post, but were they? I wonder. What if he barely knew her and just became obsessed with her? Then wrote all that stuff so people would believe they were close and cared for each other. Makes me wonder if that's not what was brought to the attention of the police. Maybe other coworkers saw his post, knew they weren't friends. Maybe she was even creeped out by him and alerted police about it. Maybe he gave himself away. Or maybe I just read too much into things. But wouldn't that be creepy? Morgan's family was very disturbed by his post, and after checking his Facebook page, found photos of flowers and candles that they say were at Morgan's Vigil, as if he was teasing that he was there. How evil. Taunting her family, letting them know that her killer was right there among them during the time the police were searching for her killer. After seeing his posts, Morgan's stepsister said he had to be a really sick person, somebody who's really messed up in the head and likes to see people in pain. McDermott has pled not guilty to murder and is being held at the Stark County Jail on a $2 million bond. Such a tragic story. Please join me in praying for her daughter, who will now grow up without her mother. If you have any other theories about why he'd want to kill her, I'd be curious to hear them in the comments. As always, thank you so much for spending this time with me on my channel. I appreciate you, and I'll see you on my next video.